The deep darkness of space stretched before the Earth ship Audacity as it patrolled the outer edges of human territory. Captain Hannah Kim stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the stars beyond the viewscreen. This routine mission was supposed to be simple: monitor the border, report any unusual activity, and return home. "Captain, I'm picking up a signal," Lieutenant Jun Park said suddenly, his fingers moving quickly across his console. "It's not one of ours." Hannah moved to his station, leaning over to see the readings. "Is it a distress call?" "I think so," Jun replied, adjusting the sensors. "But it's using frequencies I've never seen before." Communications Officer Da Li joined them, his brow furrowed in concentration. "The pattern matches nothing in our database. This is completely alien technology." The bridge fell silent. Despite decades of space exploration, humans had encountered only a handful of alien species, most primitive or isolationist. A real first contact situation was rare enough to be career-defining. "Put it on screen," Hannah ordered. The view screen flickered to reveal a massive ship drifting in space, its elegant design unlike anything human engineers had created. Parts of the hull glowed with strange light, while other sections were clearly damaged, with debris floating around it. "Life signs?" Hannah asked. Medical Officer Jin Song studied her readings. Several weak signals, one stronger than the others. Security Chief Sora Yun approached the captain. "We should report this to Earth Command before proceeding. Standard protocol for unknown vessels." Hannah nodded, but as she opened her mouth to give the order, a massive explosion rocked the alien ship. The bridge crew watched in horror as a section of the vessel tore away, spinning into the void. "Those life signs are fading fast," Jin reported urgently. Dad's console beeped. "Captain, I'm receiving a transmission from the ship. It's trying to use our language." "On speaker," Hannah commanded. A strange, melodic voice filled the bridge, the words halting but clear. "Assistance, Royal Vessel, Ralvari Empire, enemies pursue." Hannah recognized the name instantly. The Ralvari Empire was legendary among human explorers, an ancient, highly advanced civilization that had been exploring the stars when humans were still figuring out agriculture. They were known to consider humans barely evolved primates, unworthy of diplomatic relations. "Captain," Day said quietly, "Earth Command is responding to our initial report. They advise extreme caution. We're to observe only and wait for diplomatic course." Another explosion rocked the alien vessel. "Those people will be dead by then," Hannah said firmly. "Prepare boarding teams. Medical priority." The journey to the Ralvari ship was tense. As the human shuttle approached, they could see the extensive damage more clearly. Whatever had attacked this vessel had wanted to destroy it completely. Inside, the boarding team found a scene of devastation. Bodies of tall, elegant aliens with iridescent skin lay throughout the corridors. Some wore simple attire, but others were dressed in what appeared to be ornate military uniforms. "This way," Jin said, following her scanner deeper into the ship. "The strongest life sign is ahead." They entered what appeared to be a command center. There, surrounded by dead guards, lay a female Ralvari. Unlike the others, her skin had patterns that seemed to shift and change, and a complex crown-like structure grew naturally from her skull. "That's their queen," whispered Engineer Hyunkang in awe. "It has to be." Jin rushed forward, medical kit in hand. The alien queen's eyes, all four of them, fluttered open at their approach. She spoke, her voice weak but commanding. "Humans," she said, the word carrying both surprise and disdain. "You board a Royal Ralvari vessel." "We're here to help," Hannah replied simply. The queen made a sound that might have been a laugh. "Help? What could your species possibly offer mine?" "Medical assistance, for one," Jin said, already scanning the queen's injuries. "You're losing blood, and several of your organs appear damaged." The queen studied them with obvious suspicion. "You realize that helping me marks you as enemies of the Turek Collective." "The who?" Sora asked. "The ones who did this," the Queen replied, gesturing weakly at the destruction around them. "A rival power. They will hunt you as they hunt me." Hana exchanged glances with her team. Earth Command would defend. "Idly order them to withdraw now." "Can we move her to our ship?" Hana asked Jin. "Carefully, yes," the doctor replied. The Queen's eyes widened. "You still intend to assist me, knowing the danger?" Hana nodded. "That's what humans do." Then, the Queen said, her voice growing fainter, "You are even more foolish than Ralvari scholars believe humans to be." The Audacity's medical bay had been transformed to accommodate their royal patient. Jin Song worked tirelessly, adapting human medical technology to treat the alien queen's unusual biology. Captain Hana Kim watched through the observation window as her medical officer performed what could only be described as a miracle. "Her condition is stabilizing," Jin reported, stepping out to join Hana. "But she needs specialized care that I can barely understand." These data crystals her guards carried contain medical information, but I'm only grasping the basics. Hana nodded. "Do what you can." "How long until she can travel?" 3 days, minimum. And even then, it's risky. The captain's reply was interrupted by Dali rushing toward them, his expression grim. "Captain, emergency transmission from Earth Command. Admiral Su Yang wants to speak with you immediately." In her private quarters, Hana activated the communication system. The stern face of Admiral Yang appeared, his disapproval evident even through the static of long-range communication. "Captain Kim, what in heaven's name do you think you're doing?" the Admiral demanded without preamble. "You've taken the Queen of the Ralvari Empire aboard your vessel without authorization." Hana straightened her posture. "Sir, it was an emergency situation. The Queen would have died." "The Ralvari have repeatedly refused diplomatic relations with Earth," Yang interrupted. "They consider us barely evolved apes. Now you've entangled us in what appears to be an internal power struggle." "Sir, if I may. Our intelligence reports that the attack was orchestrated by a faction called the Turek Collective. They've already sent messages throughout this sector condemning Earth for interfering in matters beyond our comprehension." Hana felt her stomach tighten. "Admiral, the Queen explained that if she dies, the Ralvari Empire would face a succession crisis that could destabilize the entire sector." "That's her claim," Yang replied coldly. "For all we know, she's manipulating you. The Valerians have already sent us warnings. The Ralvari have historically used lesser species for their own purposes and discarded them afterward." The Admiral's expression softened slightly. "Hana, I understand your humanitarian instincts, but this is beyond your authority. Your orders are clear. Transfer the Queen to a Ralvari vessel at the earliest opportunity and withdraw immediately." That's a direct order. After the transmission ended, Hana called her senior staff to the conference room. She explained the situation bluntly, holding nothing back. "So we're supposed to just hand her over and run?" Sor asked, clearly disappointed. "Those are our orders," Hana confirmed. Jun Park cleared his throat. "Captain, I've been monitoring subspace communications. There are no Ralvari vessels within 3 systems of our position. The nearest ship that might be friendly to the Queen would take 2 weeks to reach us. And she'd be dead by then," Jin added quietly. "What about neutral territory?" Engineer Hyun suggested. "The trading outpost at Gamma Station." Day shook his head. "I received a report an hour ago. Gamma Station was just occupied by forces claiming loyalty to the Turek Collective. They're searching all vessels." Silence fell over the room as the implications became clear. The only way to save the Queen was to take her all the way to Ralvari space themselves, directly against orders. "Captain," Jun said finally, "what are we going to do?" Before Hana could answer, the medical bay alarm sounded. They rushed to find Queen Mira awake and attempting to rise from her bed. "Your people have ordered you to abandon me," she stated, her multiple eyes focusing on Hana. "I heard your communication." Hana approached her. "You should be resting. I will not be the cause of humans defying their hierarchy. The Queen said firmly. Your Admiral is correct. Involvement with Ralvari affairs is dangerous for your species. Jin gently pressed the Queen back onto the bed. With all due respect, Your Majesty, you're in no condition to make dramatic speeches or decisions. Queen Mira looked genuinely surprised at being contradicted. You do not understand. If the Turek Collective finds your ship, they'll try to kill us. Hannah finished for her. We understand the risk. The Queen studied each human face in the room. Then why would you continue this foolish mission? What do humans hope to gain? Hannah exchanged glances with her crew before answering. Sometimes the right thing to do isn't the easy or safe thing. That makes no logical sense, Mira replied. I know, Hannah smiled slightly. That's why your people find us so puzzling. Later, alone on the bridge, Hannah made her decision. She changed their course toward Ralvari space and sent a message to Earth Command. Regret unable to comply with orders due to medical emergency. Proceeding to Ralvari territory with diplomatic intentions. Full responsibility assumed by Captain Kim. She knew this might end her career, or worse, but as she watched the stars streak by on the view screen, Hannah felt certain it was the only choice she could live with. The Audacity drifted silently through the dark space between star systems. Captain Hannah had ordered all non-essential systems shut down. The lights were dim, the air slightly colder than normal, and the crew spoke in hushed voices. Turek patrol vessels approaching. Lieutenant Jun warned from his station. 3 ships, heavy weapons. Hannah nodded. Hold position behind the asteroid. For 5 days, they had been playing this dangerous game of hide and seek. Their course to Ralvari space took them directly through territory controlled by the Turek Collective. The massive alien warships hunted for them constantly. Queen Mira stood beside Hannah on the bridge, watching the tactical display with all 4 of her eyes. Her health had improved enough to move around the ship, though Jin still worried about her exerting herself. Your strategy makes no sense, Mira said quietly. Ralvari ships would never power down so completely. The risk of being unable to restart systems is too great. That's exactly why it works, Hannah replied. The Turek are looking for what they expect to find. A ship running at full power, trying to outrun them. They watched in tense silence as the enemy vessels passed by, their scanning beams sweeping the asteroid field, but missing the powered-down human ship. Remarkable, Mira admitted once the danger had passed. Illogical, yet effective. Later that day, as Engineer Hyun worked to repair damage to their communication array, the Queen observed his methods with growing curiosity. You are using materials incompatible with the original design, she noted. Hyun smiled as he twisted together different wires. We call it improvising. We work with what we have. Ralvari engineers would never attempt repairs without the correct components. Then Ralvari engineers would still be floating dead in space, Hyun replied simply. The Queen fell silent, considering his words. On the 8th day of their journey, disaster struck. While navigating through a debris field, a large piece of space junk struck the Audacity's hull, tearing a hole in the main corridor. Emergency bulkheads slammed shut, but not before 3 crew members were lost to the vacuum of space. Primary hull integrity failing, the ship's computer announced. Oxygen levels dropping. In the damaged section, Hyun and his engineering team worked frantically to patch the breach. The materials they needed for proper repairs were in the section now sealed off. We can't fix this properly, Hyun reported to the captain. We need to turn back. Queen Mira stepped forward. I may have a solution. From a hidden pocket in her robes, she produced a small crystal. This contains information on Ralvari emergency repair methods. Hannah looked at her in surprise. You're willing to share your technology with us. I am willing to survive, Mira replied coolly. And it seems my survival depends on yours. With the Queen's guidance, Hyun created a patch using a combination of human materials and Ralvari techniques. It wasn't pretty, but it held. By all Ralvari calculations, this repair should fail within hours, Mira said, inspecting their work. Hyun shrugged. Good thing we're not relying on Ralvari calculations then. The journey continued, each day bringing new challenges. Their food supplies ran low. The ship's engine showed signs of strain. The crew grew tired, working double shifts to keep everything functioning. On the 12th day, they encountered their greatest challenge yet. 3 Turek battleships appeared directly in their path. They've seen us, Jun reported grimly. Weapons charging. Hannah turned to Mira. What do you know about Turek battle tactics? They rely on overwhelming force and predictable attack patterns, the Queen replied. They expect enemies to either flee or engage directly. A plan formed in Hannah's mind. Risky, possibly suicidal, but their only chance. June, plot a course directly toward the lead ship, she ordered. Full power to engines. Captain, June questioned, shocked. Do it, Hannah insisted, and prepare to vent our plasma reserves on my mark. The Audacity surged forward, racing toward the massive enemy vessel. On the view screen, they could see the Turek ship's weapons ports glowing with deadly energy. They're firing, Sora shouted. Now, Hannah commanded. Cut engines, vent plasma, and rotate ship 180 degrees. The Audacity suddenly spun around, releasing a cloud of superheated plasma behind it. The sudden maneuver confused the Turek targeting systems, and their weapons fired into the plasma cloud, igniting it in a massive explosion that temporarily blinded all sensors. Using this moment of confusion, Hannah ordered a short jump to the other side of a nearby moon, where they powered down again and waited in silence. Hours later, when it was clear they had escaped, Queen Mira approached Hannah in the quiet of the observation deck. No Ralvari commander would have attempted such a maneuver, she said. It defied all logical strategy. Hannah smiled tiredly. Sometimes survival depends on being unpredictable. I am beginning to understand why the Turek fear your species, Mira replied, and why my advisors were wrong about humans. She paused, looking out at the stars. You are not primitive. You are something far more dangerous, unpredictable. The Audacity limped toward Ralvari space, its hull scarred from countless near disasters. After 17 days of evading Turek patrols, surviving on emergency rations, and making repairs with whatever materials they could find, the crew's spirits lifted at the sight of the border. We made it, Jun said, his voice reflecting the crew's exhaustion and relief. Ralvari territory at last. On the bridge, Captain Hannah allowed herself a small smile. They had lost 5 crew members during their journey, but the Queen was alive and growing stronger each day. Soon, this dangerous mission would be over. I am transmitting royal identification codes, Queen Mira announced, her fingers dancing across a communication panel she had modified herself. My people will send an escort. Day monitored the transmissions. Signal acknowledge, Your Majesty. 5 vessels are approaching our position. The tension on the bridge eased. After everything they had been through, the end was finally in sight. Hannah turned to Queen Mira, who stood tall and regal despite her injuries. Thank you, Captain, the Queen said formally. Your people have shown courage beyond what I believed possible for humans. Before Hannah could respond, Jum's voice cut through the moment. Captain, the Ralvari vessels are charging weapons. What? Hannah spun toward the view screen. 5 gleaming ships approached, their elegant designs unmistakably Ralvari, and every one of them had weapon ports open and aimed at the Audacity. There must be a mistake, Hannah said, turning to the Queen. Your codes. The Queen's 4 eyes had widened in shock, then narrowed in understanding. It is no mistake. Lower your shields. Excuse me. Sora stepped forward protectively. They're about to fire on us. Lower your shields, Mira repeated firmly. I must speak with them directly. It is our only chance. Hannah hesitated, then nodded to June. Do it. The moment the shields dropped, A beam of light enveloped Queen Mira. Unlike weapons fire, this beam seemed to scan her. Seconds later, the lead Ralvari ship transmitted a message. Genetic verification confirmed. A cold voice announced, Queen Mira, by order of High Commander Veth, you are to be escorted to the capital for immediate judgment on charges of treason against the Ralvari Empire. The bridge fell silent. Hannah looked at the Queen, whose expression had hardened into cold fury. So it was not the Turak after all, Mira said quietly. My own High Commander arranged the attack on my vessel. Your Majesty, Hannah questioned. Mira turned to the humans, her voice low and urgent. Captain, I have been blind. The attack that separated me from my royal fleet was no Turak ambush. It was orchestrated by my own military leadership. Why would they betray you? Jin asked, shocked. Because I have been suggesting changes that many traditional Ralvari find unthinkable, Mira replied bitterly. Opening diplomatic relations with species they consider inferior, including humans. Another transmission came through. Human vessel, surrender the Queen immediately or be destroyed. You have 1 minute to comply. Hannah turned to her crew. Options. We can't outrun them, Jum said. And fighting is suicide. Their technology is far superior to ours. Maybe, Hannah replied, her mind racing. But their thinking isn't. She turned to Mira. Your Majesty, if Commander Veth arranged your assassination, what happens if you return? I will be executed for treason, after a show trial to maintain appearances, Mira stated matter-of-factly. My death will allow the traditionalists to maintain our isolation policies. 30 seconds, came the cold voice from the Ralvari ships. Hannah made her decision. Sora, arm all weapons. June, plot a course directly between those two outer ships. Hyun, I need emergency power to engines and shields. What are you planning? Mira asked. Something no Ralvari would expect, Hannah replied. Your Majesty, how would your ships respond if we attempted to flee? They would pursue in standard formation, using tractor beams rather than destroying us outright. They need to recover me alive for political reasons. Hannah smiled grimly. Perfect. 10 seconds, the Ralvari commander warned. Everyone hold on, Hannah ordered. Joan, execute now. The Audacity suddenly surged forward, shields barely active, heading straight for the gap between two Ralvari cruisers. As Mira had predicted, the ships moved to follow, adjusting their formation to catch the human vessel in multiple tractor beams. At the last possible moment, Hannah gave her next order. Vent all remaining plasma. A massive cloud of superheated gas exploded from the Audacity's engines, temporarily blinding the Ralvari sensors. In that moment of confusion, Hannah activated a desperate maneuver that sent their ship tumbling beneath the Ralvari formation. Maximum speed toward the 7th planet. She commanded, we need to reach the atmospheric barrier before they reacquire us. As they raced toward the gas giant, Queen Mira watched the humans with new understanding. You still fight to protect me, even knowing this is not your battle. It became our battle the moment we decided to help you, Hannah replied, eyes fixed on their destination. Besides, we've come too far to give up now. For the first time since they had rescued her, Queen Mira's expression softened into something that might have been respect. The 7th planet's swirling atmosphere provided temporary shelter for the damaged Audacity. Hidden within massive storm clouds, Hannah gathered her remaining crew to plan their final move. We can't stay here forever, she said, looking at the tired faces around her. Sooner or later, they'll find us. Queen Mira stood by the tactical display, studying the movements of the Ralvari fleet now orbiting the planet. Commander Veth is being cautious. He fears I might still have loyalists within the fleet. Do you? Jun asked hopefully. Perhaps, Mira replied. But they would be watching carefully, afraid to reveal themselves. Engineer Hyun entered the room, his uniform stained with coolant fluid. Captain, I've been studying the Queen's shuttle. I might have an idea. Everyone turned to him as he explained his dangerous plan. Using a modification to their shields based on Ralvari technology from the Queen's data crystals, they could potentially mask the royal shuttle from Ralvari sensors long enough to reach the capital world. The calculations give this a 12% chance of success, Mira noted after reviewing Hyun's work. "We've beaten worse odds on this journey," Hannah replied with a tired smile. The plan required precise timing. The Audacity would emerge from the planet's atmosphere, drawing the attention of the Ralvari fleet. Meanwhile, the Queen's shuttle, carrying Mira, Hannah, June, and Sora, would slip past their defenses using the modified shield technology. As they prepared for their final mission, Jin approached the captain privately. "I should go with you," the doctor insisted. Hannah shook her head. "Someone needs to get the Audacity and the rest of the crew home if we fail." "That's you, Jin." The two women embraced briefly before Hannah boarded the shuttle. The Audacity burst from the planet's cloud cover, weapons firing in all directions. As expected, the Ralvari ships immediately gave chase. In that moment of distraction, the small royal shuttle slipped away, its modified shields making it nearly invisible to sensors. Their descent to the Ralvari homeworld was rough. The shield modifications interfered with navigation, forcing June to fly manually through the planet's dense atmosphere. They landed hard in a forest clearing several miles from the capital city. "The royal palace is heavily guarded," Mira explained as they prepared to move out. "But there are ancient passages known only to the royal family." They traveled through dense forest and underground tunnels, encountering the first armed resistance at the edge of the palace grounds. Sora moved to protect the Queen, but a Ralvari energy weapon caught her in the chest. "Go!" she gasped as she fell. "Don't stop." Hannah wanted to help her security chief, but there was no time. More guards were approaching. They ran deeper into the palace complex, following Mira through corridors that seemed to have been designed to confuse intruders. Near the central chamber, they encountered Commander Veth's personal guards. During the firefight, Jun was severely wounded. "Leave me," he told Hannah, pressing his weapon into her hand. "Get the Queen to the throne." With a heavy heart, Hannah continued forward with Queen Mira. They reached the massive doors of the throne room just as Commander Veth was addressing the Ralvari High Council. "And so with great sorrow, I must confirm that our beloved Queen Mira has perished in a regrettable attack by human forces," Veth was saying. "As protocol demands, I assume temporary leadership until—" The doors crashed open. Queen Mira stood there, her royal garments torn and dirty, but her posture regal and commanding. Beside her stood Captain Hannah, weapon raised. "Commander Veth," Mira's voice rang through the chamber, "you are guilty of treason against your queen and the Ralvari Empire." The council chamber erupted in shocked exclamations.